While I was speaking to our expert panelists about 3 days back, we were just discussing and I was looking at the profile. Each one of them carries close to 30 to 40, 20 years of experience in our HVAC industry. And on the stage, if I do a quick math, we have close to 100 plus of rich experience from our HVAC industry. So let's give a huge round of applause for all our expert panelists. So while I was just reaching the hotel, I think a beautiful weather in Bangalore, right? It was raining, and last 4 weeks or 5 weeks, wonderful weather. So I want to hear from you. Who all likes the Bangalore weather? Can I see a raising of hand? All of you who likes Bangalore city's weather? Oh, a couple of people are not even raising the hand. So, okay. So, the wonderful weather. In fact, I have AC at home. I've switched off the AC. In fact, I'm not even using the fan at home. Open the windows and it's a wonderful weather. While I talk on the weather of Bangalore city, we are in this hall in Chancery Pavilion. You can see this ducts here, and we are actually using air conditioning. The temperature in Bangalore, if you look at Google, it's 20, 21, 22 degree. And we are using air conditioning system, which is 24, 25. When I say air conditioning system, you have a chiller, you have an AHU, you have a damper, you have valves, all of that consuming huge amount of power. As per the report, close to 30 to 40% of power goes into HVAC. And in a building, if you do the math, close to 50% of electricity power bills we are spending in India. That's one side of the story. Second story is that rising population. Last year when I was reading an article, we were number 2, number 3 in the population. Now we are number 1. And on the CO2 emission, we are at number 3. And that's why we have the COP Summit 26, where our PM has said that we are going to go by net zero emission by 2070. 2070, very far off, right? What should we do now, right now? That is not the fact. We need to take action right now. And on the HVAC system, part of HVAC system for the global emission, close to 15 to 20%. And when you look at a building like a Chancery or any other building, data center, industry, pharma, blah, blah, takes away close to 50% causing the emission from a building construction point of view. So that becomes very important that we innovate, integrate, and implement the right HVAC system. So what we will do in this panel discussion is, I'll throw a couple of questions to our expert panelists, and then as we proceed, we will open it for question and answers to the audience. So my first question, any project coming in a city like Bangalore in India, you have a customer saying that I'm going to come with a project, and then the design goes to an architect. From the architect table, it goes to a consultant. So we are blessed to have the top consultant, HVAC consultant, Mr. Manjunath sir, who's designing most of, while I was chatting with Manjunath sir a couple of days back, sir has designed a lot of projects, industry, pharma, a lot of that. So my first question is to our consultant, Mr. Manjunath sir. How important is innovation from a design consultant point of view, sir? So over to you.
Good evening, everyone. See, importance in the terms of innovations. See, innovations comes into, I can categorically categorize it 2 parts. One is innovation in HVAC products, like chillers, VRV system, all air conditioning, even ducting, everything there is an innovation is going on. This is an ongoing process. So that is the one part. Second part is innovation on the design. Okay. I give more importance on innovation on design compared to the product, because product innovation, HVAC is having a very, very limitations. For example, now you see your air-cooled chillers, whatever we are now installing it. Earlier we used to install the air-cooled chiller with a 2.8, 3 maximum COP. To achieve 3.1 to 3.3, it took almost 5 to 6 years. So that is the very difficult to bring down the energy in the product side. So what in the design side, we can do n number of innovations. For example, just last couple of weeks back, I was talking to Google. We are doing some due diligence for the Google. Google is already achieving 650 square feet per ton. So there is a very, very highly energy efficient building. So this is there in the hand of consultants. So in second part, that in integration and implementation. So integration and implementation is another part, okay, where the consultant will do the design, how you do the implementation. That whatever the concept consultant is designing, it has to come into actual reality. Then only you get a energy saving. I'll just give you one example. We all design the chillers for 6 degree, 7 degree outlet temperature. And how many people, now you are all in the industry, how many people are seeing at AHU level? See, we are all doing the calculation, insulation calculation, everything. The rise in temperature, it should be 0.1 to 0.2 degree from the generation point to that end point. So how many people have seen 6.5 degree at chiller AHU inlet? Anyone? 6 degree, we are generating the water, and at the AHU level, even we are not getting 6.5, it will go to 7, 8. 8, if 7, 8, if you get it, the client is very happy. I'm getting 7 and 8. But they're not forgetting about what is the generation. They're doing it. Then see the loss of energy. 5 degree delta T, you're losing 1 to 2 degree temperature. It is 30 to 40% energy you're losing it. So there is a huge energy. Just for 0.2 to 0.3 COP, taking 3 to 4 years innovation, but we are wasting the energy while doing the design and execution 20 to 30% easily. This is because of our poor installation quality, poor execution, poor selection of material. So innovation is not the only product innovation. It is our design innovation, and it is a execution innovation, and whatever finally the contractor who is executing the job, they should have very good knowledge, and they have energy consciousness. Then only actual terms of energy we can achieve. So this is the basic, very good thing to save the energy. The first category. Second thing is the designing also. Designing, that is what? Simply we design the system. For example, just last couple of months back, we are doing one very big project. They installed 1,200 into 4 numbers chiller, 3 working, 1 standby. Actually, practically, 3 are standby, 1 is only working. And in the peak summer, second one will come partly on and off. So how much energy we are wasting, and how many even capital cost we are wasting. Most of the, especially data centers and all, if you take it, 50%, 50%. So this is how we have to do the optimum design to save the cost. One is capex, another one is the running cost. When you select a proper chiller, proper material, and we can save a lot of costing. So I'll give you next one example where we done energy efficient designs and we saved my costing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think very nice thought. You said at the AHU level, and then not only design, but integration, implement is very important.
See, so design is one thing, one paper we do it.
Correct.
But how will they implement it, that is very important.
Correct. Absolutely, sir. So yeah, you heard it from Mr. Manjunath that design is done. I think at this time I will rope in Mr. P.G. Muralikrishnan, sir, on the integration, because Mr. P.G. Muralikrishnan, sir, comes from Bluestar, one of the top system integrator. So we have design on the table with the best innovation. How do we integrate the best design? Over to you, Mr. P.G. Muralikrishnan.
Good evening, all. Thanks for calling us on this stage now, Sajid. Okay, I think also great thing from Mishre. You have chosen right people like Mr. Manjunath from great background. Yes. Mr. Shiva for implementation side. All are experts in their field. Okay, and whoever has chosen has done a due diligence in this. Okay, on portion of implementation. On integration, as Manjunath has told, integrator becomes very important. He should understand what is the intent behind this design. He is the one who has to integrate together and finally deliver what is required for the customer or for the project. Okay, he is a person who will be the pivotal. No, there will be so many, like KP was mentioning. There is a chiller, there is a AHU, there is a pump. Okay, But all this has to be integrated and finally given the energy efficiency point of view, what parameter it has to run. So that integrator only has to decide, and he can only design that one. Our design is already done, he has to integrate that one and he has to run that one. Okay. And second point is customer, it becomes very important. Integration becomes very important. Nowadays, when customer wants the integrator to take everything. Earlier it used to be only HVAC. Now later on HVAC plus BMS came. Then HVAC, BMS is not alone is enough. Now the electrical also is getting included. Now data center customer is mentioning, so this integration of only this MEP service is not enough. Go with civil also. So he wants integration of everything under one brand, so that when he knows what is that finally when I walk into a data center, my things should be running and my energy efficiency should be this one. I cannot go behind a civil person, I cannot go behind an electrical person, I cannot go behind a HVAC person and say that this was my intention but you have done something else. So he wants an integrator to do everything for him and deliver the project. That is the importance of a integrator.
Thank you so much for kind of stressing on the importance of So thank you so much for stressing on that point. I kind of deviate from innovation, integration, and then I come to Krishna. I think very nice presentation on talking on building and then AI and a lot of other stuff. While I was chatting to you, I think you had a mix of working in OEM and then now you have your own company. So the question of innovation from a consultant, now I come to you because you worked in a lot of companies like an OEM manufacturing a large product. So how important, I think your answer could be from a point of a normal OEM, because we have a mixed crowd here. How important is innovation from an OEM product point of view? Your neutral opinion or points, please.
Check. So, Sandeep, audible? Yeah. So Sandeep, like, actually I'm feeling a little cold. I don't know why. It's because of this temperature or sitting between the powers of knowledge. Really, I really don't know, right? So, so I should really measure my words when I'm going to put across in a neutral perspective, right? So I've seen various OEMs seen across segments and across markets, right? When we talk about innovation in front of an OEM perspective, right, it always is a vantage point in terms of segmentation. Right? When I say segmentation, there is a specific market. For that market, some competition is going to do something. They have to have a competitive advantage, so they bring in some technology. Sometimes they force fit, sometimes they do for common good. Many things happen. So the innovation per se is targeted to generate revenue, but end of the day, there will be a lot of common good. Right? Innovation is extremely important for them. If they don't innovate, they become dinosaurs. Right? What existed 10 years back and now it's phenomenal difference. Who is staying? There are many OEMs are there for more than 100 years. They reinvent themselves. Right? What was hardware centric is different. Right? Again, so the paradigm shift happens if they don't invent. And some OEMs will be focused on certain segment and they are not available in other places. So that's why I feel that the OEMs innovate in order to be relevant in the market. They have to not get extinct. So that's a quotient. You can take example of Apple, and even you can take an example of a large software company, Microsoft. How they have now they are the 800-pound gorilla in terms of the software world. Right? They own the largest shares in OpenAI, and they also have their own platform on AI. I have all context towards AI because that's what I do every day. So don't mistake me around that. But there are a lot of other examples. Talk about NVIDIA. Okay, talk about NVIDIA, what they do on GPUs. It's totally amazing in terms of what they innovate. They started the innovation not now 10 years back. And that's what is powering us in terms of what the convergence. Right? So I would definitely agree in terms of how the design has to be effective. And Manjunath sir told about that, and I mean I can't echo beyond what BG sir is saying. Right? We have to implement in the way what is required. The selections, how do you put the jigsaw puzzle together and then deliver to customer, make them to operate. So that is the most important thing. If they don't operate what the design is intended for, what it is not made for, then we have missed the goal by miles. So my take is that everything is important. It has its own weightages. But if I want to put a commercial hat and talk about it, yes, innovation comes. Otherwise, people become dinosaurs.
Yeah, well said. If you don't innovate, then you become dinosaur and extent. That I think that's a key takeaway for all the OEMs who have product and looking at to build products and solution in the future. So we kind of heard on innovation, integration, and then also innovation from an OEM point of view. Now the very important point is how do we implement? So we have the best product, we have the best integrator, and then we have platinum certification, green building certifications, IGBC norms, all that. And then we have government laws, we have the national building codes, all that. And we have OEM, then we have system integrator, we have different manufacturer. All of them should synchronize and then bring them to a single page and implement the right solution, whatever the OEM is claiming. And that's where I would request Mr. Sivaprakash from Savills, one of the top PMC, who's handling from the customer and also handling all of us from the customer point of view. So how important is implementing all of this together? So over to you.
Thanks, Sandeep. And first of all, I extend the gratitude to Sir. Wonderful speech and inspiration for us. You started with a good note, and it was really, even though I'm a non-contending guy, but I love to hear his speech. Thanks for that. And thanks to Sikandar Basa for excellent organization. And it is important for nowadays having such kind of event. It is not only for knowledge sharing. We connect with the people and we experience the stage with such great intellectuals and experienced professionals so that we can also learn it. So that is very important for us. And Muniraj, wonderful to have with you. And you called me one night day and told Shiva, you have to do one thing. Okay, why not? That is what my answer to Muniraj, because that was the association with Muniraj during celebration period. So the amount of knowledge he has, the amount of project we fight each other from the project aspect as well as consultant aspect. At last, the product is delivered. And Praveen always do justice to his job. Excellent host. I have seen many events. So I take that privilege to appreciate all your guidance so that people will not hear us for a longer run. 9 o'clock. How long you guys want to hear us? That is secondary. And Sandeep, obviously, thanks for moderating the session. So coming to the, I was just taking the break for having the answer to everyone. Yeah. So we talk on the layered wise approach in project management. Okay. So we think when an employee getting inside an office space, if you are an employee, you're an employee of any company, when you get inside an office space, what do you want? Okay? When you enter the space, you look for a marble floor. That is your experience you want. And get to the meeting, I should not touch anything. It should switch on automatically. I should wave my hand. Air should come. What else? Then I should go to the cafeteria. Everything should be automated. The experience of the thing, the next 5 years, Krishna Prasad is detailedly covered, thanks to that. And it is going to be really evolving. We are talking about so many things. So first we analyze what is that user want to that space. Okay, that is the first criteria, we'll build it. And we understand the user group. Then comes the real estate perspective. You know real estate. What they think about that. They doesn't allow space to AHU in the floor because per square feet, what is the space? We have 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 120 rupees. BCD, we are paying more than 190 rupees per square feet. Why I have to pay a rent? I don't want AHU. I need CSU, which is coming on the, but it is not going to work. That is the second part. And operational wise, they want to measure the parameters on the efficiency part. Like rightly said by Krishna Prasad. So they want to check the efficiency, sustainable solution, real estate should not be wasted, and last, cost optimization. Everything they want, everything into the budget. Third comes my architect friend. He designed with the thought process of having galaxies, stars, everything in the moon. And he wants that to be executed. But the budget doesn't allow us. And the fourth aspect I want to talk is our senior expertise, Manjunath sir. He comes with the technology. Okay, technology is great, and he love to experiment few things. He cannot run that 5 years before or 20 years before the system. Actually, to talking to the point, efficiency wise, we are talking about the efficiency wise. Yes, we are advancing, but construction wise, I feel that 10 years behind or 20 years behind, we done a proper construction than now, because the time doesn't permit us. They want any project. 40,000 square feet, 1 lakh square feet, or 1,50,000 square feet need to be completed by 90 days. It is not going to work. For that, we need to give a technology base. So these are the all things come. Then comes my vendor partner. Myself and Sikandar has to sail in the same boat, right? We are the mouth of the client. We are the mouth of Sikandar Basa rather. I'll tell what Sikandar Basa tells, sir. This material, this project cannot be executed. This is the problem. That is the problem. At last, we find the problem. OEMs comes with their own issue, own product, and the delivery times lies. So all 5 factors are responsible, and we should always talk on an integrated program approach. And we should not talk. We should not only talk on HVAC. For the upcoming engineers over here or the experienced vendor partners, talk on the overall prospective, holistic approach. We talk about holistic approach. What does my lighting does there? What is my fire protection system does here? And how my HVAC system is getting integrated with both of them. That is what customer want. And how it is to be digressed, or I should say that it is to go to the ground root of the team is, they should understand what exactly I have discussed all this 5 part. The project engineer who is at the site should understand what is that it is required and how to get executed. Unless he senses that this is what the expectation of the customer, we will not end up in doing a right quality job. At last, I will call Sikandar, why this quality job is not done? And you will answer, sir, I thought, sir, okay, what to do? So we should not end up on all these things. So my only suggestion is go with the integrated program approach, where we integrate all the elements, including the ID elements. So if you take my architect, sorry taking more time, but this is very important. And my architect doesn't want any diffuser to be seen here, right? He wants a clear height of 3 meters, where my void space is only 4.2, where to run my duct first in place. So there are challenges evolving around. And Muniraj used to struggle with this, I need a diffuser here to achieve the temperature. So many factors are there, but it's a joint effort, I would say. One is taking the knowledge from my services consultant, and at last PG sir has come up with so much of experience. Like that, so many designers will come. They get into detail of the insight of the consultant, what he want, and it is put on the drawing board, and what need to be executed as a project manager along with the project management with the best practices. So I don't want to get into best practice. Best practice always everyone does it, but these are the key takeaways I would say. But I can talk in length if required. But I'll close with this note. So it should be an integrated program approach. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so very much. I think very nice, right? So I think the crowd is quite, like, audience is quite impressed with the answer, what you said. I think very, very. So yeah. So I think very important, Mr. Shiva, what you mentioned is that most of the time it is that like an OEM will supply the product and they say, I have done my job. I do not know what is happening. I have done my job. I have given the best product. I have installed as per the time. But very important is that as we execute, we need to understand the importance of other system in place, so that we are in sync. At the end of the day, we are catering to the customer's needs of maybe the lead platinum or the COP. And it is not only a chiller will do the job. A chiller will do its job along with the best AHU, along with the best pumps as well, and ducts and all that. So I think very important point for a takeaway for everybody. So what we will do at this point, I think we had a good discussion. What I will do is I will just open it for questions from the audience, because we are also running short of time. So any questions for our expert? You heard them all this time. Any questions, any burning questions you have that I have this question all this time, I want to ask. So you have the best consultant, you have the best integrator, you have OEM, and also we have Mr. Shiva. Any questions? I'll open the floor for audience. I can see one. Can we have mic, please, sir? Sir, I would request you to please introduce yourself and then ask the question to the panelist.
Good evening, I'm Mohan Rao. I have been in the maintenance management. All the expert panels here, you have talked about the best design, the best product, best implementation, and the best PMC. There is no specification about the skilled certified worker. You have done the best, you have invested, and the person who is he has invested whatever you have said. But have you done the selection of a vendor or the person who is going to implement? I think that is what we are talking about. Innovation, implementation. Implementation, we will have to have one more chapter there to selection of the person who is implementing. And they should be a certified worker there. So that's all my concern.
Thank you. I think very nice question, very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
So, that's what I told. Even whatever best design we do, best product we have. But if you have a very, very poor executor, then whole design intent will go for task. So there is no use of having a good design if we have a bad installer. So your point is very well acceptable, sir. Thank you very much. If you don't have a good installer, the intent will not at all meet.
Sir, one more thing I want to add here. From the previous decade, what you can see, the dependency, it is still there, but it is compared to the previous decades when we used to have a disassembled chiller. Then we started assembling. Nowadays, it's package chiller. So the dependency on that portion of skilled labor is reduced. Typically, it used to happen even for AHUs. We used to order separately, or we used to get separately a blower, separately a motor, separately coil. Then somebody used to integrate that one. Again, we are reducing that. So technology is improving in that sense. But still there are hardcore, some labor are required. But even now, if you see the welding is going, the coupling is coming. So technology is taking over the labor, but still we cannot avoid as of now that the entire labor requirements or the skilled labor requirements.
Thank you. Thank you. I
think I really echo, sir, what we talked about. The person who is going to use the system is the person, right? He's the persona in which the entire design and inside implementation is going in. That's where the slight note I put, one of my aspirations that can the building talk to that person, or we can talk to the building and find out that something's actually gone wrong, or how can we improve the person's skill sets. Because what a small knowledge I have in the FM world, the churn happens pretty fast. The churn happens when somebody is there, say in Jan, he probably gets churned in 8 months or even 10 months for whatever good reasons or other reasons. The attrition or the changeover is pretty fast. But is there a way, which we are again thinking collectively, that is there a way that we could solve the knowledge skill gap in terms of first understanding what is there inside before the FM could take over? So that's a pretty long debatable topic, but I think we might need to move into a space where how do you make those people strong? Especially in COVID, I don't know how many of you realized if FM were not there, the buildings are not the same what it is right now. I think they sweated their blood, everything to make sure the building was running. I think that was one of the most sought after people during this COVID-19, absolutely for the last 2-3 years. And none of the people can enter the building without talking to the FM person, right? And that was a gratitude what we need to owe them in terms of how do you reshape the skills. A long answer, but definitely yes. The skilling them happens in many ways. It's coming from the knowledge transfer, probably from the OEM or from the design or from anybody. But the knowledge transfer has to happen between various people in the ecosystem. It's just the comment, but I think absolutely echoing what sir was telling.
Thank you. I think, sir, you are also wanting to.
So one thing, what I realize is very important aspect. One is the vendor partner who has been appointed or selected by the client is the key. And any vendor partner is bidding to any RFP, do some detailed study of the project, what you are going to bid. Don't go with the benchmarking exercise. Okay, I want 10 projects. With the 10 projects, I can do this exercise of work and do it. Every project has a unique complexity. Okay. First, we should understand what is the expectation. Okay. That is the very key. And based on that, you can analyze and do a submission, which gives a qualitative analysis for your costing, specification, as well as the selection of your sub-vendors. That is clear, right? Here, most of them doesn't have an in-house skilled team. They rely on people who's a subcontractor. The subcontractor comes with their own price. If you want a A-grade vendor, and you are quoting for a project of L1, which is not optimal cost, which you can work with an A-grade subcontractor, definitely you're going to be shortfall. So the analysis is very key. But obviously, everywhere we cannot have that win-to-win situation. Definitely, I have to win this project for me. This year turnover is key for me. For that, what should I do? I should take this project. That is one thing. Second thing is, when you are taking the project, whether we are coming with the right specifications, right speccing, my consultant will derive three makes, and he'll put a radar of equivalent. That is where the catch. When you're going for an equivalent make, apart from a consultant specified make, then it is going to be a challenge. And I would recommend all the OEMs here, what you would have a very good, fantastic factory setup. That is first. Okay. The products, whatever you produce when you're manufacturing in the factory, should call out some criteria, because we are talking about square, spiral, circular, which comes as an all. It is an engineering product. What is the precision you follow while engineering that? And that should talk on the design language. Nowadays, BIM is one of the key, building information model, where all advancement, every contractor should have a BIM engineers skilled team, so that when the OEMs develop a product, that 3D model is getting in the library of BIM, so that they pick it, and that talks to the operation point. When I am creating a BIM network, a model, and doing a as-built drawing, which is going to FM team, that gives the complete visualization of the product, how it works. So these are the other aspect also is there. So right subcontractor is key, and the main vendor has to take the ownership and training the skilled worker on periodic basis. That is your responsibility. You can get from some XYZ area or XYZ people, but once it is under your umbrella, it is your responsibility to train them, set up the core value, vision, what we want in that project. That is very key here. Then only we can able to achieve the quality, whatever exactly certain. And the skilled man is the key for that. Yep. That is my take on that. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. I think wonderful words from all our experts. I think our president also wants to share a few words. Yeah.
Like Dr. Mohan Rao asked, the skilled person, there we come as ISRE, we are doing that one. Last week we have done ICP, that is ISRE Certified Professionals for HVAC Drafting. That is the basic, what everyone is telling, that basic. I was there for 3 days along with the training for that. I have seen who come for that training, they don't know how to do the drafting and basic knowledge of heat load, calculations, everything. That we started teaching from ISRE. ICP, that is ISRE Certified Professional for Drafting. Again, we are coming for design and commissioning. This is the basic training, and we are developing for the future engineers.
Thank you so much. I think that summarize, because one question kind of sparked a lot of answers. I think it's a very important point. Huge round of applause for Mr. Mohan for giving that question. Thank you so very much. Just on a lighter note, over the weekend I was watching a movie, the Bhopal gas tragedy. One scene I found while you were all talking, that scene just came to my mind. One of the worker who didn't know what was that, he just, I think, switched on the valve, switched on some wrong valve, and that actually caused the eruption of Bhopal gas tragedy, and close to, I think, more than 1,000 people have lost their life. It is not so harmful in HVAC, but believe me, wrong system design, wrong skill worker will just on off something, and then power consumption is going to go for a toss. I think very important point. And one more question we will take. Any other questions for our expert panelists? Yeah, there I can see there. Can we have mic there, please?
Thank you. I'm Syed here. Good evening. Good evening to the panelists. KP, it was an impact presentation. Thank you. I come from the IoT side and from big time companies like Siemens and Johnson and the L&Ts, and now I'm with a startup for the IoT software SaaS base. It's called DB, Digital Blanket. And it was a very impactful presentation. In fact, you took us across to the AI part, and then Manjunath sir told about how the heat load calculation part happens and how it is extra redundancy takes place into picture and all that. What we understand is from the software side is that from the hardware we are moving to the software side, the continuous commissioning has to happen. If we don't have the continuous commissioning of a particular automation, like the building automation system or the fire alarm system, which has to work on its perfect balance to map the entire building, we don't get the proper energy feedbacks. Because data is the new oil, as you rightly said. And if you don't have the data, I think so the machine doesn't learn by itself, because historical data has to be taken into account, and then the OEM data, which comes along with the respective equipment. And nowadays, all the equipments have the beautiful cards, interfaces, and everything is open on the open APIs. Sensors talk on the Bluetooth. They give the data to the MQTT to the gateways. From the gateways, it goes to the cloud. So when systems goes to the cloud, the data is available over there for a long, long time, be it the pharma, be it the automobile segment. So how can the PMCs, the consultants, the architects make a subdue understanding that the system has to get recalibrated, recommissioned every time, so that the data coming on to the system, to the cloud, and then to the AI part has relevance, and then it is taken into account by account, and then we have better energy efficiency. We then talk about the ESG, and all this can take a bigger, wider role, and the new generation can learn more, can learn more from this. So this is my topic. I mean my question. Can you stress from a different angle perspective?
Yeah, for
Thank you.
BMS system is a very good system where we have a lot of implementation, energy saving, energy management system. So a lot of things can be done, trend can be generated so that we can assess which area we are losing the energy, which area we are optimizing. All these things we can do it through BMS system. But the thing is right calibration of all these sensors are like a nerve system for BMS system. If it is signals are not properly going to the cloud system or BMS system, all your data is wrong. So what we have seen in many of the projects, after 1 year, 2 years, the sensor will having a scale formation. It will not give the temperature parameter properly to the BMS system, and they will simply shut down the BMS. They use it for on-off only. So finally, it will end up with on-off system, the whole BMS. The actual fruit of that, no client is not getting it. This is because of the proper maintenance and calibration of the system. And whenever every year they have to replace that sensors if it is going bad, they have to calibrate the sensors. This is a very, very important task. And with the proper calibration, then definitely whatever the fruit is there, we can achieve.
I think if I could understand a question that how do we make the system on a continuous commissioning path without any intervention, right? That's what we're looking. So let me add to what Manjunath sir said, right? So imagine right now I have commissioned a system, right? And I had a chance to talk to one of a very senior commissioning engineer, right? And I asked him, how do you commission the system? Specifically, if people know about PID loops, right? So that's the first fundamentals of any BMS. And in BMS, we don't use PID. We are all same line, right? So we use maximum, we go to I. That also I don't know. God only knows when we'll use I. So it's more of a P loop. And when I asked this person for my knowledge, I was learning. So I asked him that, how do you program that, say, so-called PID loop? He said, I don't know. It's based on experience. I toss a coin. Heads, I do 30%, 30 in I loop. And if it's tails, I'll do 60. So that's what people commission, right? So people on the awareness side, how the PID loop even works is not aware. And that's where the lot of other commotion comes in. Now, answering this continuous commissioning, right? One thing is not in our favor is the weather gods. I'll tell you why. What was earlier 10 years or 20 years back when we selected the design condition, 36 degrees in Bangalore doesn't exist. Right? A dry bulb or wet bulb, whatever you want to talk. It has changed over a period of time. Even though the commissioning engineer would have properly planned this PID loop, right? There are a lot of changes which happens, and because of that, it affects the performance of the system. Are we even cognizant of the fact that the PID is correct, but the weather gods are not in our favor? We don't know, right? And is there a system to go and find the PID is working or not? And that's the role of the OEM, who has to go and check when we get AMC, right? The first kartavya, this person has to go and check whether the PID is working or not tossing a coin. So moment we do that, whatever data we take to the cloud, right? That's why I said, we cannot force fit a technology. When we can use a pencil to solve something, we don't require a pen, right? So we don't want to force fit technology which can be simply solved by that commissioning engineer going to that AHU DDC panel, checking, boss, what is this? Am I getting my gain? Am I not getting my gain? What I'm supposed to, that is more than enough for looking at it, because things don't drastically change if the designs are correct, if it is properly implemented and integrated. Things don't drastically change. It does change. I'm not saying it doesn't change, because today there are 50 computers or laptops, right? Tomorrow it's different because the customer, as sir said, right, square feet is expensive. So earlier we used to design for 60 square feet per person. Now probably it's going to 30, or even, I don't know. They will say that bullpen leg and say that we'll force fit. There is something called dynamic ratio. People talk in real estate where they say that there are 100 seats, but can I increase my dynamic ratio? Monday the dynamic ratio is different, Thursday is different, Friday is different. So the gains or PID we cannot even predict. And now, after even taking the data, whatever systems currently available, as per my little knowledge, they don't capture the PID information. And none of the DDCs even talk about that. Even the IoT systems don't even pass on the PID information. What is the gain we are getting? Example, we'll only get to know only after the result or the issue has happened. For example, that 24 year set, right? It is not achieved. You open your valve. So you have to correlate between your temperature, return air temperature, valve position, VFD. So there are tons of data somebody has to visually go and check and then say that there's a PID issue, right? Is there a way to do it? There's a way to do it. That's why I talked about fundamentals and basics. The moment we get into the fundamental basics, yes, we'll be able to fine tune that. But is there a person to really go and see all these things and go fast forward and say that can we implement it? No. And the important thing, they look at 80-20. Can I solve 80% of my problem and live happy? Because I come from the, always I talk to my FMs, right? And they tell me that, KP, don't add problem to me. Solve my problem. If you say your systems are brilliant, solve my problem. Don't tell me what to do. Make it more better, or rather the mostly abused word, intelligent word, right? Your systems are intelligent. Don't do all those things. Don't solve my problem. Don't give me problems. I don't want to go and check this valve. Solve the problem, give it to me. I'll be more than happy, rather than telling me these are the problems. You go and tell. I have not bought this expensive software or VMS and depreciated that or amortized that to just for fun, right? It has to work for me. Please work for me. And systems are evolving. And that's what in my presentation also I talked about, like how these systems can talk back. It's again a feedback loop between the human and the machine interface. It would take time, but there would be a situation where these kind of continuous commissioning, there are a lot of research happening. Even I've worked with like all these top, Fortune 50 companies, right? So I've been fortunate enough to understand what would come after 10 years. Right, being one of the signatories around that. So I know where the cutting edge research are happening in hardware and what are the cutting edge happening in software. Specifically in hardware, people are pivoting to more of connectivity, to more of getting the data on, like MQTT, we talked about a platform, right? People are talking, is that the platform to take the data in MQTT? Or is GCP or Azure or whatever is a platform to get the data? Right? I get the data, what do I do about the data? We don't know. So tons of data is coming, and should we even first of all collect the data? Right? I would counter argue saying that if we know the application, data is not required. Right? So we can keep on talking, but the short answer to you is that yes, there should be human machine interface. Right? It's triangulated information. Then you go and change the PID. This can be done every quarter. I don't think it doesn't require every minute to be changed PID. I really don't know, because the environmental impact doesn't change drastically every day. Probably that's my personal opinion. Maybe we can interact more on this.
I think, yeah, over the dinner and networking, we'll have more discussion. I think last, we're just running short of time. I think I will just request Mr. PG Muralikrishnan to share few words. Let's say we're talking on net zero, we're talking on sustainability. 2 tips on sustainability as we work towards our net zero emission.
To start with whatever Mr. Manjunath had told, optimization of design. You know, you don't add up the safeties at engineer level, at a manager level, at a chief engineer level. Don't add up the safeties and make a system so big so that all your first cost, running cost, everything is becoming high. So do a optimum design. Okay, KP told about the weather gods. Again, if at all Bangalore also, again we should not do, I mean, maybe Manjunath sir will say, we should not be designing for a once in a lifetime peak temperature. We should design it for what is mentioned in our ISRE weather data also. We can take the support of that one. We should do it design for the optimum conditions. One is that one, and second I would say perfect commissioning, or what is intended to be again whatever KP said initially, the chiller, the pump, the AHUs, all has to be commissioned such a way that they give their optimum or the best performance and the best efficiency. These two, as per me, are the first starting to sustainable points.
Thank you so much. From there, I would request Mr. Manjunath Swamy, sir, for 2 tips on sustainability and that innovation project while we were discussing offline. Sir, a few words from you, sir.
Yeah, again, net zero is a very vast terminology. So how you achieve the net zero, actual terminology is you should not have any energy consumed. That means external energy. Complete 100% energy you have to generate it at your own locations, renewable energy. But that is quite difficult. There is again, we can implement it net zero building. That is, you can have the net zero building, but whatever the energy, additional energy required, you can have it external, off-site. So that is a implemented net energy building. In general term, as per 2021 terminology, net zero is reducing your complete building carbon footprint to 90%. So this is the eligibility of net zero building. But however, it is a very, very tough task to do that net zero building. But in general, all net zero building we move towards the net zero building, your building will be, obviously it will be very, very energy efficient. Correct. That is the actually motto of introducing the net zero building. It is not that, okay, you have to have a zero energy consumption, but you are working towards reducing the energy to reduce the carbon footprint, to save the energy, save the environment. So this is the major concept. So everybody is working towards that. Even ISRE is doing a lot of work towards the net zero building. So we are also doing a lot of buildings which is coming now. We are doing one solar power plant in Tirunelveli, where it is we are using 28,000 tons of air conditioning system, and it's a ISO 7 and 8 clean room. We saved almost 8.5 megawatt of power by changing the design concept. Complete design concept, we changed it. We removed all the air handling units. We are using a DCC and FFUs, fan filter units, so that the complete static we are minimized. So then we achieved almost 8.5 megawatt of energy we saved it. And the second thing is again the over design. One more thing I'll just emphasize on that part. See, recently we just done one more pharma company. That is they're very global. They manufacture the containers for the pharmaceutical thing. So what their requirement is ISO 8. The existing plant, when I gone there and checking, it is meeting almost ISO 6 requirement. they're telling that with this environment you can manufacture the tablet itself, not the container. It is not required. It is completely war design, and it is end up with, instead of ISO 8, it will meeting ISO 6, which is not required. And whenever you increase the class, then your energy consumption also will increase. See, same thing in Tata Solar, ISO 8, we achieved with not even HEPA filter. F8 filter, we achieved ISO 8 class. Only with the F8 filter. So our particle count almost 4 lakh 0.5 microns, wherever your ISO 7 requirement is 3.52 lakhs. So it is almost close to ISO 7 by using only F8 filter, not even H14, H13 filter. So this is the over designing should not happen. It will kill the casting and as well as the energy. So you should be very, very careful on your design. And with that, definitely we can achieve the best goal.
Thank you so much. I think last closing remarks from Mr. Sivaprakash sir from Savills sir.
So, net zero, nowadays global clients are out. We are talking about 2070 India and 50% of carbon reduction on 2050 India as per our government of India. But global's company with this from UK based or US based, they are talking about the mission of 2030. So 5 years down the line. So that is very key. And the design part Manju sir has covered and execution part optimization Murali sir has covered. I would put in a very layman perspective. In the construction, when you select a material far away from Bangalore, I would say it might be from Noida or somewhere in Gujarat or in Delhi, the amount of travel distance coming to the site will have a lot of emission. So nowadays, people talk on the selection of material within the if Bangalore has a hub and they product most of the things, you go to Pune, you get anything. You go to Vascote, you get anything. Why we are selecting the products which is away from the vicinity of Bangalore, and that makes a overall carbon emission, that is the key. So we talk about construction, so that is one of the key I would say. And sustainability, whatever we do a practice, and currently we are exploring different technology over radiant baffle system. It is one of the things which we are doing for one of the client, but I don't know how best successful we are going to do it, but we are working on that vision. So the EPI, we are talking about 20 kilowatt per year per square meter. So these are things which we are working towards some vision, but with all the support of all the gentlemen or the stakeholders who are here, we will be able to achieve it. It cannot be a single man as client as a vision, driven net zero vision, and we are talking. But here, whatever Google, we work for Google as well, they are talking about 2030 as a net zero vision. So almost 50% of all the energy, renewable energy is coming from their own campus or tied up with some solar PV. So OEMs here, there are business opportunities can come from solar part, renewable energy part, that you talk about. Radiant baffle, very few vendors in the market. That is also patent oriented. Why not you can explore, start working on radiant baffle system. So there are opportunities are there. It's left to the technical team and the OEM to decide it and come up with a solution. And clients are always welcome to see the solution, but rather exporting from South Korea or Italy or France or US, getting a product in India, make in India concept, and getting a product in Karnataka, again makes more emission, more reliable and more sustainable related to all net zero thing. So it's an eye-opener for all OEMs. So take this as an opportunity, get into basics of R&D, develop a product which can meet the requirement and then take it further. Yeah, that is
Thank you so much. I think wonderful interacting. Huge round of applause for all our expert panelists. We'll continue this discussion, but I think we're running short of time. One last time. If you want to meet the best exhibit, I think we have had a wonderful discussion in terms of what's important on innovation, integration, and implementation. If you want to know the best OEM manufacturer, you want to meet them, interact, I think Ishra is also coming up with South Asia's largest exhibition, ACREX 2025, which is happening in Bangalore next year between 20 to 22nd. I think as per the data, we have close to 10,500 square meter of space already being booked, 240 exhibitor and 10 international exhibitor. I think the bookings are still open. You may connect with me or with the ACREX team. I think you will get more details on your space. With that note, we close one last time. Huge round of applause for our expert panelists. With that, I close my panel discussion, and I request, Praveen, over to you to take it over.
Thank you, Sandeep. As energetic as ever.